Father, I'm very sorry to say that news has just come through that another child, a third child, has died as a result of the attack yesterday.
Oh, goodness.
Very sad indeed.
Indeed. It's dreadful. We must pray for her.
Our top story this lunchtime. A teenager is still being questioned by police following a knife attack at a dance class yesterday, which left 2 children dead and 6 other youngsters in critical condition. The 17-year-old boy was arrested on suspicion of murder and attempted murder. This morning, the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, laid flowers at the scene, and she's been speaking to reporters in the last half hour.
Well, I think it's just unimaginable what has happened, this devastating and horrific attack. And I think all of our thoughts will be with the families who have been affected, the loved ones who have been lost, and the children who are injured. And it's really important that they get all the support they need. I've been meeting with some of the first responders, the emergency services, the police, fire service and paramedics who were there yesterday and who had to respond with great bravery to make sure that more lives were not lost, and I thank them for the work that they did.
The dance class was Taylor Swift themed. The American pop star said today that she is at a complete loss following the incident. Earlier, I spoke to the Times crime editor, Ben Ellery, who told me what he'd learned about the suspect.
We've been looking into the suspect ourselves, and we've established that his parents had fled genocide in Rwanda, moved to Cardiff, where the suspect was born, and then on to Southport. We've spoken to eyewitnesses who've told us about the horrendous scenes yesterday, which saw 2 children die and 9 youngsters injured, as well as 2 very brave adults who were running the Taylor Swift holiday club, and one of whom is still in hospital.
Well, joining us now is Father Tom Carpenter, who's a parish priest for the Holy Trinity and St. Luke's Church in Southport. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Very, very sad moment, obviously, for your parishioners. How are they reacting?
With shock and disbelief. There are people in church who've just been sitting there for hours, not knowing what to do, where to go, where to put themselves.
What sort of community is it in Southport?
It's a very quiet, kind, genteel seaside town. This is somewhere where nothing ever happens, and for something to happen and for it to be so horrific here is hard for people to understand.
What do you say to your parishioners who must ask, how could God have let this happen?
There are no easy answers, and there is no meaning in evil and in wickedness. The meaning that we find as Christians is in Christ, who shared human suffering and redeemed it.
What help does the community need that it's not receiving?
It's very hard to say precisely what help people need, because it is likely to change. At the moment, they simply need places to be and people to talk to. What the effect will be longer term on the mental and emotional state of the townspeople will emerge.
And does it help that senior politicians like the Home Secretary are coming to share their grief?
It will help some people. The Home Secretary has come and laid flowers, as people from the town have been doing. Exactly how, for how long the interest and concern of cabinet ministers will be directed at Southport in the future remains to be seen.
And is the suspect part of the local community? Is he a known figure?
Not from anybody I've spoken to. He's lived in Banks, which is a village about 5 miles away, and which is very remote. So he's not well known locally.
Father, I'm very sorry to say that news has just come through that another child, a third child, has died as a result of the attack yesterday.
Oh, goodness.
Very sad indeed.
Indeed. It's dreadful. We must pray for her.
Well, thank you very much indeed for joining us. That is
Thank
Father
you.
Tom Carpenter.
Terry, have you spoken or dealt with any of the families so far who've been affected, and if not, are you planning on doing so?
Well, I think it's just unimaginable what has happened, this devastating and horrific attack. And I think all of our thoughts will be with the families who have been affected, the loved ones who have been lost, and the children who are injured. And it's really important that they get all the support they need. I've been meeting with some of the first responders, the emergency services, the police, fire service and paramedics who were there yesterday and who had to respond with great bravery to make sure that more lives were not lost, and I thank them for the work that they did. There is also a serious criminal investigation underway now, but everyone's thoughts will be with those injured children and just praying for them.
You mentioned the investigation, of course. We heard from Merseyside Police yesterday that it isn't being considered a terror-related incident. How do we know that it's not terror-related?
Well, there is a serious criminal investigation underway because this was a horrific attack. It's important that the police pursue every single avenue, and that is what Merseyside Police are now doing. I support Merseyside Police in that work, but it's immensely important that they need to be able to continue that. And they will provide updates. You'll understand that I'm not going to say anything that would cut across their investigation or prejudice that investigation, as I take that investigation immensely seriously into this truly horrific attack.
We're in a bit of a knife crime epidemic at the moment. You can't really go and listen to the news more than a week without hearing about a knife attack at the moment. What's your government going to do to try and tackle this issue and to prevent attacks like this in our communities?
Well, there would be deep distress right across the country as well as here in Southport for this appalling, just truly horrific attack, because it's beyond every parent's worst nightmare. You had what should have been a children's party having fun in the beginning of the summer holidays could then turn into something so devastating. There's obviously deep concern about knife attacks across the country, and that's why the Prime Minister has said that is a moral mission to address this. But I think for today, the issue really is about Southport, and the issue is about the families who have been affected in this case, and all of us praying for the injured children and for the little children who have been lost.
I know we're running really tight on time, but I just want to quickly ask you, Home Secretary, is there anything else you can tell us about the perpetrator? For example, were they known to the authorities?
Well, Merseyside Police are leading this extremely important and serious criminal investigation. This was a horrific attack, and they need to be able to get on with that work, and they will provide us with updates. You'll understand that others should not be speculating or commenting in advance of those updates, and we really welcome the work of Merseyside Police. But it's also important that they pursue every single angle of inquiry. But I think at the same time, the police officers, alongside pursuing that criminal investigation, police officers are also members of the community. We've talked to first responders today and some of the police officers who were there yesterday and who had to respond. They're also working in the community to support each other and to support the community in the face of something so awful happening.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for your time, Home Secretary.
Thank you. All right.